Hi, Florida, Punta Gorda. It's International School of Detoxification with Dr. Morse.
Hi, Eddie. Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're here. It's a fun class, isn't it? We're learning how to take someone from in a wheelchair or someone with big tumors and pulling them out, how to get them to walk again, aren't we? Isn't that fun? You're learning what protocols to use to fix someone like that in terms of botanicals and diet. You're learning how to read the iris and how to determine what's wrong with them, where they have problems, their GI tract, their kidneys. You can see their genetics, their lymphatic system. Isn't that fun?
It's amazing.
Oh, it's amazing. It's fun.
And
we're throwing a little spiritual side in there, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Because you were talking about after last class, you started having lucid dreams.
Yes.
Yeah, so lucid dreaming is when you're becoming more awake in your dream state, which then becomes more real than this world, since when you start playing in the God worlds, you're closer to God, your experience feels more real than here. You know, where your attention is where your reality is. So wherever you put your attention, that's you. And that's going to be your experience.
Exactly. And when you detox, you really feel another level coming
You're feeling
at you.
another level coming on, absolutely. Because we were talking about it in there, is that when you consume living foods, you're bringing your energy consumption up from about 1,000 to 2,000 angstroms to about 10,000 angstroms of energy to 12,000. So that's like sticking your finger in an electrical outlet going, so that energy in spirituality is consciousness. So when we're consuming these high levels of energy and we haven't destroyed the plant, then the reason that plant is on this planet, why God made that plant or that herb, that action is all yours. So all these foods are meant to heal us and to take care of us. So we just have to figure out which foods are designed for the human being, right? So as we learn that the human is a frugivore, then we know that fruits and berries and melons and things like this were more designed for the human. And you've seen that when you start eating that way, your nervous system starts to correct itself. You start to clean out tumors. The kidneys start functioning. Everything does better.
Yeah. Can you tell a few words about the importance of the lymphatic system? Yes,
this is man's biggest problem that he faces and the least understood, and that's why man is so sick, because man does not understand his sewer system. Your body comes with a huge sewer system in it that the medical community just doesn't understand. And so because they don't understand that, everything becomes autoimmune or in your head or some reason that makes no sense. Every time you have a symptom, there's a cause to that symptom. We live in a world of cause and effect. So whenever you have a problem, remember you created that problem, whether it was consciously or unconsciously. Did you eat the right foods? Do you understand the chemistry of the food you're eating? Because some of the foods, as you know, that they recommend man to eat is not for men, not for the Homo sapien, like meats and stuff. We're not carnivores or omnivores. So these acid-ash foods break down our kidneys, break down our GI tract, and now we have all these problems. So learning the lymphatic system is key, and your kidneys and adrenal glands are the key to understanding this huge system that flows around every cell in your body. Think about your body for a minute. Your cells and fluids, and every cell in your body, 100 trillion of them, have spaces around them. So your body is really cells, spaces, and fluids. Right?
Yeah.
So it's those spaces that feed the cells the fluids. That's blood and lymph. Lymph makes up about 75% of this space fluid around a cell. That's not blood. Blood's the kitchen. So what is lymph fluids around the cell? And that's your sewer system. The lymphatic system buffers acids in the body. So all your pain, all your swelling is all called acidosis. Whether you put fibromyalgia as a name, you put lupus as a name, these are just names medical doctors give acidosis.
Lyme disease.
Lyme disease, it's all the same problem. You go after your lymphatic system, you can cure everything that's on this planet, and we've proved it, we've shown it. Eddie, worldwide, people are curing everything because they understand the lymphatic system now. Yeah, it's good stuff, fun stuff.
Yes. You made me laugh because you said the carrot juice, you detox nothing with it.
I know.
Can you remind us and tell us about the importance of fruits versus vegetables?
Big time. We are not vegetable eaters. Vegetables, first of all, belong to herbivores, and herbivores are designed with multiple stomachs and grinders. They grind their food because lettuces, grasses, leaves have heavy cellulose. We're not designed that way. We're much more simplistic. We do better with fruits. Fruits are easy to digest. Their energy has the highest energy in the planet. Fruit enhances the brain and nervous system of man, so we're more primate-ish. Like we're 90, well, someone was saying the 98.6, but in most understanding, we're 97% the same as primates in terms of genetics, not the human body. So primates are frugivores. Some are eating omnivores, but they're frugivores. And fruit develops brain and nerve function. So if you're in a wheelchair, you go on a fruit diet, you'll start rebuilding your nervous system. You'll start being able to walk. You'll be able to talk again for those that lose the ability to talk. It's just neat to see how you can rebuild the body on fruits and berries. You seen that? It's amazing. But that's where all the nutrition in nature is. People don't realize that. Ripe fruit, ripe berries have the bulk of the nutrition of nature. Vegetables are too low in frequency, too low in consciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have this is a question from one of my followers. She has big problems, and she wanted to ask you. I have my paper.
That's all right. What's her big problem? Do you remember?
She had multiple cancer. Oh, I got it.
Multiple cancers. Okay.
She wanted to know. It's a very interesting question. She wanted to know if that's true. She wanted to ask you if that's true, that by eating raw, she can stop spreading the cancer.
Okay, so you must understand your lymphatic system because these are all lymphomas. The lymphatic system removes metabolitic acids out of the body. When you don't remove metabolitic acids, that's the acid that cells are releasing. If you don't remove those interstitially around all your cells, then it's called inflammation, and your body starts to swell from that. The eliminative organs that fit this system is the kidneys and the skin. The best way to tell, you can tell that she's not filtering because she's having multiple sites. When you want to pee in a jar and take a look at your urine, if it's clear, that's your trouble. Because you never want to see water, clear water, coming out of a sewer pipe when you just pooped in it. You want to see the poop coming out in your sewer, not just water. And that's what's happening. People's waste, cellular waste, or cellular poop, and it's not coming out of the body. It's staying there. That's why you see swelling everywhere. When it stays too long, you get fatty livers. It stays too long, you get cysts, boils, pimples, tumors, that sort of thing. And when it becomes intracellular, because cells can no longer get rid of it interstitially, it's intracellular acidosis. That's mutation, and that's when they call it a cancer cell. Don't freak out when you have a few cancer cells. It's the lymphatic system you have to deal with. It's the tumors, and tumors are not cancer. Tumors are lymphatic stagnation. It's a glomulation. Open those kidneys, get those kidneys filtering and the skin sweating, and you'll never form another tumor, and the ones you have will come out. But if you got to go after those kidneys and get their lymph nodes down and let everything flush out of the body, and only fruits and berries have the ability to, and melons have the ability to do that. Vegetables are not astringent enough to get that action on you. Like we're talking about. I fasted weeks and weeks on carrot juice.
Nothing.
No changes.
Yeah.
Try this at home. Try 1 week diet of carrot juice. Then try 1 week diet of grapes, and then 1 week diet of lemons. And you tell us the power of which one got you.
Yes. Yeah. And when you detox, you have also what we call healing crisis.
Healing crisis means that every experience physically that you've had, from pneumonias to different pains to all types of things, will revisit you. If you've had bronchitis 10 years ago, plan on it during detox, because, especially if you never let it run its course. If you treated it with antibiotics, you didn't cure it. You stopped the body from getting rid of all this mucus and all this sputum. That's what pneumonia is. That's what bronchitis is. You ate the foods that created the mucus, and now your body's trying to get rid of it, and people stop that. That's allopathic thinking, wrong thinking. Because if you hold all this mucus in you, that's where you get the tumors, that's where you break down the lungs, that's where you move into then the COPDs and stuff like that.
Did you had personally some healing crisis?
I haven't had a lot of tremendous ones, just simple ones, like different injuries that I've had in the past started hurting again, but then went away, and then I felt it release in my head like, oh, I must have knew that was weak, but didn't consciously know it. But in detox, every weakness you have is going to expose itself and then gone. It's like your body traveling around with some carpenters, traveling around repairing things and going to this area and then going to this area. You can have a pain here one day, a pain down here another day, a pain up here a day. A healing crisis. They're just simply walking back the journey that you've been on to genetics, and then your rebuilding takes place.
Now
it's a fun thing.
Yes, I have two fun questions. First, I wanted to ask you, what do you think about maple syrup? Because my husband is Canadian.
Well, I love maple syrup. The thing with maple syrup, though, is you really have to cook it. You really have to boil it down. You're not going to eat the sap out of the tree. And that's where the problem comes in terms of the chemistry of it. In terms of the flavor and stuff like that, or mixing it in with something, I have no problems with that. But if you're a little more finicky about things that are alive and good chemistry, you wouldn't do it because of what you have to do to get the maple syrup from the sap, you know. But I love it, you know, in terms of flavor and things like that. But when you cook things down, you agglomerate the chemistry. You saturate the chemistry. You want to look for things like date sugars or more natural things where you don't have to process the food to get it to where it's palatable. You know, but for flavors and stuff, no, you're supposed to have pancakes, remember?
My mom wanted to ask a question to you.
Mom.
Yeah. She made me laugh because she wanted to ask you if she's allowed to, or if she can have chestnuts while she's detoxing, doing a detox.
Chestnuts open? No. When you're detoxifying, you do not do proteins, you do not do vegetables. You want to spend your time with fruits, berries, and melons. If you can't handle that level of strength and power in detox, step down to green drinks and maybe one salad a day. But if you have serious tumors and serious problems like that, you want to go all fruit. If you're in a wheelchair with MS, Lou Gehrig's, or Parkinson's, you have to do all fruits and berries. It's the only way I can get you to walk again. And that with the herbs, and then you've seen the cases where they're walking and all that now. Yeah.
Of course, we are in level 2, so it's iridology. Can you tell what is iridology?
Oh, the science of iridology. Well, it seems like every cell in your body translates its condition through the autonomic nervous system up through the cerebellum, where it comes into the central nervous system and the optic nerves. So a surgeon discovered back in 1853 that the iris, with all its little nerve fibers, register all these frequencies that the cells are transmitting. So colors and shapes is what we look at in the eye. The colors for the lymphatic stagnation, and the fibers and their shapes and sizes for genetic weaknesses. So we're learned to map out the whole eye and the whole body. So in your eye, I can see you from head to toe. I can tell you where you have your problems, the degree of your problems, the genetic level of the problems, and how bad is your lymph system, like the lady that's having all the tumors and all the cancers. She's got to know about her lymphatics. These are lymphomas. She's got to know about her lymph system. They don't know. They just call it autoimmune. Autoimmune doesn't exist. They don't know the cause. They just simply assign a name to cells that are being destroyed and then freak everybody out with fear. No. You got to back up, understand what's going on in your body that's causing you to form tumors. And of course, if that same system breaks down the tissues or cells, you fix that system and you're done. You're good.
Yeah, and we see a lot of orange in the iris. A lot
of orange and stuff. Yeah, sulfur from the use of antibiotics. Look at all the antibiotics being used.
Okay, that was my question.
And the reason they use antibiotics is the lymphatic system.
Yeah.
Always. They see lymphatic problems as bacterial problems they got to treat and stop. Not true. Not true. This is acidosis that's giving you the inflammatory response. And that's what you've got to fix, is the acid removal of metabolytic waste. Kind of like the professor I was telling you about, the PhD of Rochester University, was talking about the lymphatic system and the need to sleep on one side so the brain can drain its debris, going on to define the debris as metabolitic waste. Now that's one medical, well, he's not a medical doctor, he's a PhDer, but he's a research. He does understand the lymph system of the head at least, because the lymphatic system was discovered several years ago. But that's about the extent of that. And he knew about metabolitic acids that needed to come out of the body. Once the medical profession knows what you guys are learning, it'll change the whole course of their thinking. They'll realize that people they've destroyed with chemotherapy and radiation was wrong, was stupid, and that they have been part of a massive effort to kill people. No, no. You don't have to die. Cancer isn't a fear word. You have to understand what's going on in your body, which system is down, and how do I fix it. Yeah. That's simple.
So fruits,
berries, and melons.
Move the lymph. Yes. And life is movement. Move the lymph.
Move the lymph. You got to move lymph, but you must filter in your kidneys first, or lymph can't go anywhere. Your kidneys are the doorway. Your sweating is the doorway. Your skin is your third kidney. If you're not sweating, you're not eliminating your waste. Internal waste. Remember, you have 100 trillion cells that comprise your body, structure, function. You've got to get to them. How do you get to your cells? And that's the fluids. And there's only two major fluids of the human body, blood and lymph. Mm-hmm. And lymph dominates the body in fluids. And they don't know that system. Scary. Scary.
Last question. It's going to be the first question that I asked you. 1 year and a half ago, I was on my sailboat anchored out here in this bay. Mm-hmm. And I met someone in Port Charlotte with a watermelon he told me about the greatest naturopath in the world. Huh. So I came to your clinic and I saw you. Oh. You gave me a big hug. And I asked you, what do you need to do to go to the school? Do you need a background? Who can come?
Mm-hmm. Anybody. We don't care, because what we do is educate the layperson on the truth. We teach you about your lymphatic system. We teach you about your eyes. We teach you about everything you want to learn. We have level 1, level 2, and iridology. We have 3 levels. And we've had them for, I've had this class for 20 years now. And it's just, it helps you to understand the body more, how it works, why you're experiencing what you're experiencing, and how do you fix that. And that's important. So look at all the YouTubers that are curing people around the world now. You got people in there, they're so busy, and they've only come to level 1.
Yes.
And this one lady, she said, I'm so busy and I'm curing everybody.
Yes.
Isn't that cool?
That's true.
That's what you all need to get in on. That's the current ride. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I know you've been to many places, beautiful many places.
Oh yeah.
And thank you for coming back here on this planet.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. Have fun on your journey to Wellville.